would now ask for a staff briefing on Substitute House Bill 1398. I believe we have Mr. McCarthy and Mr. Pringle joining us. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. For the record, Ben McCarthy, staff to the Labor and Workplace Standards Committee, briefing Substitute House Bill 1398. This bill adds 7 factors that an interest arbitration panel must or may consider when arbitrating collective bargaining impasses between adult family home providers and the state. For background, adult family homes are licensed by the state to provide residential care in a home-like setting to individuals who are elderly or who have physical or developmental disabilities. Adult family home providers are the individuals or entities that are licensed to operate adult family homes. Adult family home providers employ workers who provide assistance or services to the individuals living in adult family homes. These workers are known as direct care providers. Adult family home providers are considered public employees for the purposes of collective bargaining. If the providers and their public employer are unable to reach agreement on a mandatory subject of bargaining, they are subject to mediation and binding arbitration requirements. If the parties go to arbitration, there are certain factors that interest arbitration panels must consider when making its decisions. Substitute House Bill 1398 adds 3 additional factors that interest arbitration panels must consider. These factors require a comparison of wages, hours, and conditions of employment between adult family home providers, direct care providers, and workers providing similar services to similar clients across the United States. It also requires a comparison between the wages of adult family home providers and the direct care providers they employ. House Bill 1398 also adds 4 additional arbitration factors that the panel may consider, which are in the bill report. That concludes my remarks on Substitute House Bill 1398. I will hand it over to Mr. Pringle.
Thank you.
Chair Armsby, committee members, David Pringle, staff to the committee. There's a fiscal note to the original bill that's included in your EBB, and I don't believe the changes in the substitute bill would change the analysis provided in that original fiscal note. Responses in the fiscal note include the Attorney General's Office, OFM, Public Employment Relations Commissions, and DSHS. And in each case, the agencies responded that the changes in the factors that would be considered in arbitration would change what was prepared for arbitration, but wouldn't change the amount of funding that was required to make those preparations. So no fiscal impact.
Excellent. Questions for Mr. McCarthy and Mr. Pringle? Representative Penner?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. That last part, I just want some more clarity on. Being the new guy, of course, looking at the fiscal note, seeing a bunch of 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and a little bit of narrative there. So there is no fiscal impact projected, or is there an implied fiscal impact?
No, in this case, there's no fiscal impact. The agencies essentially said, okay, we already have to go to arbitration. The factors are they're not as defined as they would be under the bill, but they would still go to arbitration. They would prepare somewhat different information to do it. They don't believe that that would significantly change the work to prepare for arbitration.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions? Seeing none, thank you both for the briefing. We'll go to public testimony. Vice Chair Macri. Go ahead.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Chair Ormsby, Vice Chair Gregerson, and Macri, and committee members. My name is Courtney Williams. I'm the Director of Government Affairs and Advocacy for the Adult Family Home Council. Here in high support of Substitute House Bill 1398, which amends RCW 4156-465. Through this modification, Washington State is acknowledging the role of adult family home operators in the state's interest to promote a stable, long-term care workforce, to provide quality and reliable care to vulnerable, elderly, and disabled recipients. As you likely know, adult family homes collective bargain their Medicaid reimbursement rates. We note that in-home caregivers and child care workers have a provision in their collective bargaining rules that requires an arbitrator to consider, among other things, a comparison of wages and hours and working conditions. It's time we extend equitable considerations to adult family homes. This bill would allow providers under DSH's rate-setting board for Medicaid rate reviews. With over 5,900 adult family homes in our state, we are a growing sector that can't afford to be overlooked. It is imperative we invest in long-term care and ensure we can account for the well-being of our growing elderly and vulnerable populations. House Bill 1398 is a critical step. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, committee. My name is Ksenyia. I'm an adult family home provider. I'm here today to advocate for fairness to ensure House Bill 1398 moves out of committee. I have all Medicaid state-paid clients, 6 of them. This bill has no fiscal impact, yet it would finally provide adult family homes like mine a fair treatment and recognition that we deserve. I want to share just one story of in 2021, I was asked to take in a young man that had no facility that would consider him because he was assessed at $80 per day for care. He had no home, no support, no history, and a history of psychosis. He was really a lost cause until he came to my home, and he's been sober for a year before he came, and 3 years later today, he has learned life skills because of adult family homes like mine, and he doesn't fall through the cracks, and he gets a second chance at life. We're more than just housing, we're a lifeline for families, so we want to be treated equally, just like other long-term care providers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair Ormsby, members of the committee. My name is Bob Leroy. I'm the Executive Director of the Long-Term Care Foundation, and I'm here speaking in support of House Bill 1398. Ours is the nonprofit organization created by the legislature back in 2019 to develop and manage a training network for adult family homes. And in our work, we have now accepted over 3,800 individuals into our network in which we provide funding to pay for required training. We also provide ongoing support, and we are very pleased to work with a number of incredibly passionate, dedicated individuals. Sadly, over 200 of them have dropped out of our program, in many cases because they simply can't afford to continue to work as long-term caregivers in adult family homes. So this bill establishing equity for adult family homes in the collective bargaining process is really a significant step forward to assisting our adult family homes in meeting the challenges around recruiting and retaining the staff that are so essential to their work.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Are there additional testifiers here in the room? If we can bring up our final 2 testifiers, come on up.
Good afternoon.
My name is Arsema. I'm here today to speak not just for myself, but for many caregivers who dedicate their life to serve others. I want to share my story. In 2022, when I was in college, I started working in an adult family home. It was a job I love deeply because caregiving is more than a profession to me, it's a calling. As someone without a family here, the residents become my family. But despite my love for work, due to the lack of funding, I struggled to make ends meet. I didn't have a car because I couldn't afford one. I didn't have a health insurance. The only thing I could afford was my college tuition and food. Eventually, I had to make a heartbreak decision. I had to leave. I simply couldn't survive. And it wasn't just hard for me, it was hard for the residents. After leaving, I started working one-on-one. The difference was life-changing. I was finally able to afford a car, an apartment, and health insurance. But despite all that, I still miss working in an adult family home. It gave me a sense of purpose that few other jobs could. I truly hope that in the future, caregiver won't have to choose between their passion and their survival, because at the heart of their issue isn't just money. It's the people we care for. It's a comfort. Oh, that's it.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you, Chair and the committee members. My name is Job, and I'm here today to represent myself and the caregivers who have worked alongside me, many of whom have left this industry, not because they wanted to, but because they could not afford to stay. I started caregiving in 2017 in an adult family home. I loved my work, but by 2019, I had to leave. At the adult family home, I made $12 an hour, and no matter how hard I worked, I could not afford housing, reliable transportation, or health insurance. Some nights I had to sleep at the adult family home because I had nowhere else to go to. This is why HB 1398 must pass out of this committee. It is a fair and equitable bill with no fiscal impact. It gives all caregivers working in adult family homes the right to be recognized and valuable. It ensures we have a voice just like other caregivers in Washington. I could have chosen to work in homes for the wealthy, but my heart is with those who have
Thank you
nowhere
so
else
much.
to go.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Vice Chair Macri.
Those are all our testifiers. Thank you.
So that will conclude the public hearing on Substitute House Bill 1398, and would ask for a staff briefing on Substitute House Bill 1971.